What is up, everybody, and welcome back to Lesser Athletes. My name is Chadwell, and today, like always, an interesting video for you here on the channel. Today is Becky Lynch is a part of The Vision. I haven't been able to record videos in a long, and let me say it second time for all the people in the back, a long time. And I really think there is some hate towards Becky Lynch. I think I'm more on the positive side of things when it comes to WWE in general, not really a negative person about WWE. I can see some stuff, I can see some other stuff, but I'm more of a positive person. But I think Becky Lynch being a part of the Vision, we need to talk about it because, my God, this is crazy. I didn't expect her to come out and clash in Paris. I really did expect a fourth member. Didn't expect it to become Becky Lynch. It made a lot of sense. Seth was on his own. It made sense that he needed somebody to help him, even though I know he said he could do it alone, which I'm gonna believe you, but I think you're lying. So today's video is going to be talking about Becky Lynch, and now that she's a part of the Vision, technically, I mean, we haven't seen her with Paul Heyman or Braun Breaker or Bronson Reed yet, but it's assumed that she will be a part of the Vision. And also, we're going to talk about, really kind of already happened. This was supposed to come out before SmackDown, but I didn't have time to record AJ Lee as well. That'll be another video in a sense, because I want to really talk about AJ Lee matches in another video. So let's get started. Likely the last member, Becky Lynch, has joined the Vision. Now, I have to say, to me, I'm going to give my thoughts and opinion on this, but let's start out with this. Is this the last member? To me, it feels like it. I think you could ultimately bring in another guy, maybe another woman. I think another woman would be probably the perfect way to really form this Vision, in my opinion. But I don't know. Is it just me, or does it really feel like this is it? I don't think another guy makes a ton of sense. I know you could have like an Enforcer and Braun Breaker destroy the mid card while you have tag titles and then the actual title, and those are the four guys running WWE. And then the women's side of things, you can have just Becky Lynch. But I really feel like this could just be it. To me, it just makes sense that you don't need anything else. I think you could go one way or one route, but I think it just makes sense this is it. You also don't want like 6 or 7, sorry about that, people trying to getting in the mix. And so I really do think that this is really the last one. Now, I have to be honest with you, I'm in the camp that loves this pairing and loves Becky Lynch being a part of the Vision. First off, why it made sense for her to show up in Clash in Paris, in my opinion, is probably because when you look and break it down, Seth had no one. Seth had to call in a favor. Paul Heyman's gone. Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed's gone. There's no one left. And if they've already acknowledged it in real life, in WWE and everything, Becky Lynch being there, I mean, logistically, it makes sense. How are we going to ignore that they're like connected? I know they could in kayfabe world, but to be honest with you, Becky and Seth have already broke that before, so trying to refix act like they aren't part of some type of story doesn't make any sense to me. They are also both on heel runs, so it makes, again, sense to me. So her interfering makes a ton of sense, getting that one person to join him and one person to help him, but at the same time, I can get people wanting a fourth member and not wanting Becky Lynch. But there's also other reasons for me on why I think this makes sense. So the whole Vision thing is that they keep calling themselves the Vision and the future of WWE. They aren't saying they're the future of the division. I know maybe they have said that, but they're not saying they're the future of the division. They're the future of the industry. They nonstop always say industry. And if you're the future of the industry, you're not technically future of the women's side of things on the division. So for me, a Becky Lynch here makes perfect sense. She's destroying the women's division. You have the guys destroying the men's division. I just think it makes sense for someone as a heel, Becky Lynch, to be a part of this group and to be a heel going after everyone else and being a part of the division. I mean, she's destroying the women's division right now as we speak. I really believe, you had to have a woman here, in my opinion, to really be somebody that's also part of the Vision, because it's the Vision at the end of the day. It's not, again, the division. Like, you're not going for just the division. So I love this pairing. I think Becky going on this run makes sense. This is my only knock on it, and it's not really me saying it's a big deal, because in my opinion, I think it would be so difficult to try and explain this. But I think, I need to say again, I could see them potentially going with a fifth member and it's a woman, and maybe there's a mixed gender, Survivor Series, and that's how it's going to happen. But Becky, another woman, maybe those two are the vision of the women's division. So my only knock on this is that there wasn't somebody younger. Like, I get Becky Lynch is here, and I get Becky Lynch could go on just like how Seth Rollins could keep going on for these years to come. But Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed are here because they're the future. They should have got someone for the future. Now, I have said in previous videos, and I have nonstop said in predicting members for the Vision, that I wanted Roxanne Perez to join this group. Now, obviously, she had ties with the Judgment Day even when I was making that video, and it's logistically so hard for that to happen. But my God, do I think it would have been the perfect gut punch for CM Punk. I think you have to look at the thing of Roxanne Perez being the wrestling child of AJ Lee and CM Punk. It made sense for Roxanne Perez as a big heel to side with Seth Rollins and be the future of the women's division. Her joining the Vision would be shocking, it would be insane, and it would be really like, for the real wrestling and WWE people, like, oh my God, this is really happening for CM Punk. But of course, with the Judgment Day connections, it couldn't have happened. Do I believe maybe somehow, some way she leaves Judgment Day in the future and maybe she joins the Vision to go against a AJ Lee and CM Punk? Maybe that's how they win. Maybe I don't think it's going to happen, but let's just say Roxanne Perez leaves, Judgment Day coming up here soon somehow, some way, and it leads into it's WrestlePalooza, which is in literally like a week and a half, so it's not going to happen. But imagine Roxanne Perez isn't part of Judgment Day. Her debuting in the Vision is her allowing Seth and Becky to win against AJ and CM Punk by, oh my God. I think that's where they should have gone with this. Because again, she is the wrestling child of Punk and AJ Lee. They talk about it even just regularly in wrestling, that her mentor is AJ Lee and CM Punk and Booker T, obviously. But a gut punch it would have been. Maybe there's still some women talent that comes over to the Vision through Becky Lynch. I would like to see it. Don't know who right now. Thinking of right now, the Vision. Maybe a Blake Monroe. I'm trying to think of heels. Like, that's super young. Yeah, I don't know. I think Roxanne Perez would have been perfect. Now, the future of this is kind of up in the air. I have maybe not really another video talking about this, but what's going to happen between Becky and Seth for the future? Now, obviously, AJ Lee is back, so there's going to be a factor into that. And what I think could happen and what I think I'm going to keep booking for WrestleMania and future is probably... See, I don't know actually if it happens at WrestleMania, it happens somewhere else, but I really do think it's going to be Becky Lynch versus AJ Lee for the IC title. It could happen at WrestleMania. It could happen before WrestleMania, in my opinion, maybe on a Raw debut or something. But I see it probably being Becky versus AJ for the IC title and AJ Lee winning. She signed a contract and supposedly it's a full-time contract. If that is the case, AJ Lee has to win this championship. It's going to push her to the moon. She doesn't need the push with how loud of a pop she got, but I mean, for casual viewers that didn't see her back in her Diva days when she had like a 295 day reign, and I can't believe I remember that off the top of my head. Very shocking to me. Very, very shocking to me. But AJ Lee, somehow, some way, I think they should put this title on her. It's going to help the title a lot. And that's a young title still. It hasn't even been a year since it's been introduced. Yeah, I just think this is the way to go. And if they do put that title on AJ Lee, I'm going to nonstop keep booking Roxanne Perez to beat. And maybe that's how she joins the Vision later on. But I'm going to keep booking a Roxanne Perez to beat AJ Lee for that title because I see it. I see it in my heart. How they would give her the title and what would happen to Becky after and what would go on, I really don't know how that would go. I think it's very hard to say that where and when does that happen, but God, I'm still going to book it. But also at the same time, now with AJ Lee back and this is being a factor in this whole thing, this kind of changes a little bit with Seth and CM Punk. I feel like you can't just ignore the fact that, I mean, do we get AJ Lee and CM Punk with the title at the exact same time? Like, does CM Punk win the title and AJ Lee win the title beforehand? Does Becky Lynch loses before Seth Rollins does? Are they really going to stretch this out all the way to WrestleMania? And it's not going to be Seth versus Roman. It's going to be Seth versus Punk? Maybe. I don't know. I'm right now debating on it, and I'm going to say right now, Seth still loses to CM Punk for the title, but it's just when and where. And I think because the story's evolving, it could be the WrestleMania main event match. I don't want it to be night 2 because I think Cody and something else could, but it is hard for me. And even now when people said Punk should go after Cody, it is even harder for me to see that happening now with AJ Lee in the picture. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.